guys, first job of the day. We've got an Alfa Romeo block. This is from the boys at Bob Dove Motorsport. So, had a bit of a disaster, I think. The trouble is, I do feel sorry for them boys sometimes with these blocks because they're dealing with all sorts of corrosion when they've stripped it. And obviously these blocks are very hard to come by now. So the problem they've had this time is there was a little bit of a to-do going on here. So you've got an end cover that goes on here. This is the main oil gallery. This had some sort of thread in it, but it was all oval and a bit crap. So Mikey has welded all that up. So what I've got to do in a minute is put it on its on the angle plate, set it up so this is parallel, face that and drill and tap it to that thread there, which I've got to find out what it is. Looks like BSPT. I've got to re-drill the top of this, just open it out into the main oil gallery because he's welded up all this face here, and Paul said he wanted me to face this out a bit but only take 2 or 3 thou off. Fortunately, I've took 3 thou and it has clean where it's been welded, because usually when you weld it, it can sink and do all sorts. And then secondly, now I've done that, this little face over here, he wants 3mm off because they put an uprated chain tensioner on here that sits a bit too proud, so he wants 3mm took off there. So that is what I'm doing now, guys. And as I say, just got to get it on the end, but it's not a difficult job, it's just sort of a bit of a palaver to set up really. So get this one done for Paul and then he can crack on with this build. So I'm just putting 0.5mm cuts on here, and you can see where it sort of starts to come into this area here. I have to stop it, so I've set that area there at 0. So we're counting down and we just stop it at 0 and don't go through, because otherwise we're going to take too much meat off over here. You don't really want to go any more than 0.5mm cuts, because the only way of clamping it is sort of down on the base there, so it's a bit dodgy. So we're getting near now. So I'll stop it and just wind it by hand down to 0. Wind it back. Just wrap it all the way out. See there, that is 0.8. So that's what we got there. So that's 2mm. This will be 2.5mm. One entire turn is 2.5mm on this. Put the feed over. We'll feed back in. Well, first of all, you're probably thinking, why have you put a video out on a Thursday? Very unusual for you. Because I wanted to be a bit spontaneous, I think is the word, isn't it? Think of it as a men's mental health special. Yeah, I just fancied doing a video actually today, guys. Did a few bits of footage this morning, more than I hoped I would do. I've got plenty going on out there. You all seem to be enjoying the technical stuff at the minute, although if you actually have a look at the last couple of videos, check out how many views we got on that, so you can see why it's very difficult for me to just do the technical, because the views are almost halved. But we'll discuss that in another video. Today, guys, we are going to be going on a little bit about men's mental health, particularly in business, and running your own small business. The reason I've decided to sort of have a little chat about this is because if any of you on there have watched my old videos, there's been quite a few videos in the past that I've mentioned about mental health with myself and me struggling. You know, you all should know me by now if you're sort of a subscriber. I don't hide anything. I don't try and sort of sugarcoat myself or make out that I'm something I'm not. What you see is what you get. I'll willingly sort of openly say anything on the camera really to you guys. And to be honest, it's had quite a lot of positive feedback in the past, especially the bits when I go on about mental health, because I have struggled in the past. And recently I've had 2 or 3 people actually come in and mention that they're in business. They've got what looked like successful businesses. You wouldn't have thought 1 minute by looking at them that they have any issues, but they said they particularly enjoy my videos because they can relate to, even with the warranty stuff and the sort of moaning and stuff like that, they can relate to the sort of problems that I have and the stress that it brings onto you. Although many of us have got small businesses like ourselves, we've got, there's only 3 of us here. It's a very small business, really. It's still hard work for someone like myself. Yeah, mental health issues are very complicated. Unless you suffered with anything like depression or anxiety or anything like that, you're not going to understand. Although I do notice with some people who have never really had depression or anxiety, because they don't understand the language, you can see that they do suffer with it, but they don't even realise. So yeah, it's a very tough one, and I think the flight and fight system, anxiety in humans, it's not really designed for the modern world. With the internet and all this, everything's sort of easy to obtain now, and the pressures of life with social media and all that are hard for people. People sort of seem to be busier now, especially like, for instance, myself, really. I mean, I've made myself busy by putting myself on YouTube, but it is hard for me. It's still, there is times when I'm better than other times. Like recently, I've been going to the gym, I've changed my diet, feel a lot better. I've got my trainer, Anthony Larson, to thank for that. Brilliant guy. Really helped me a lot. Made me focused, but there is times I seem to still go in waves. Don't know whether it's sort of depression, because it's a difficult one. Nothing, you can't really pinpoint anything that's getting you down. It's just generally you feel pretty down, and that saying of money can't buy you happiness, to a certain extent, is true, because although I'm not rich or anything like that, I've got stuff like my Lamborghini, and we've got the kit car, and we've got projects going on here. I've got a job that I absolutely love, but sometimes I feel real low, and it's hard to get out of that ditch, if you like. And other people have sort of emailed me and messaged me and that, and said, we really appreciate you doing these videos because we go through the same thing. And there seems to be this stigma with guys that you've got to sort of keep it quiet, and just crack on, pull yourself together, as they say. It ain't as easy as that. So yeah, as I say, guys, recently, the last week or two, I have been finding it pretty tough, I'll be honest with you. You probably noticed in my videos, I get a bit unsure as to which way to go with it. I'm not really myself in the videos. I'm like, I haven't really got the get up and go, and it's a little bit like it with work, although I sort of come here, so that's the reason I sort of did this video, was just to sort of tell you how I've been feeling. And if there is any people out there running small businesses, etc., any men just in general, that feel like this, you can always send me an email, or just to let you know you're not alone, really, guys, and don't keep it under wraps. Do something about it, because it can get quite a lot worse, really, if you're not careful. So yeah, not really a lot of purpose in this, guys. It was just to say that you're not alone. Yeah, as I say, I still have my ups and downs, but got to keep cracking on. And yeah, I find that relating to you guys and doing videos, it's almost like therapy for me, because I'm sort of letting it out there. I'm sharing the pressure, not just keeping it up here. So hope you're all right, guys, and I'm always here if you want to talk to me. Right, so I've got most of the stuff laid out now for this Cosworth here. This is the 500 one. We've got the other one laid out on the bench there that come in the other day on that pallet, but I shall explain about that in a moment. So these are the new bits that the customers bought that we need. We've still got to go through the cylinder head. He's got a new seal cover there for the auxiliary shaft. we're using the old bottom cover, so I've got to clean that one up, put a new seal in it. But I just want to show you the oil pump quickly. So as I've said to you, we are using the new BMW spray jets that I put all in place now, modified the cutouts on the base of the skirt of the piston. We've got a new oil pump here that the customer supplied that goes with this oil pickup. The pickup has got the incorporated spray jets in it, which we want to do away with, but rather than hack all this off, because these are quite valuable now, all I do is, if you can see here, the feed that comes out of the pump and feeds the spray jet, I've just turned and put in a brass plug basically into the spray bar in the oil pickup. The reason I've done it in brass is so we can just drill that out if needs be, if they ever wanted to use it as a normal one again. But we just put a little plug in there, still put the O-ring on the outside, and then it just didn't feed through there, so we just leave it as it is. So I'm going to get all this pump on now, put the seal cover on. I've got the auxiliary shaft in with the new clamp plate, water pump on, and then we can pretty much get the sump on this and crack on with the cylinder head. So guys, I've got the oil pump on now with the spray bar here, and I'm just going to, the pickup and the spray bar, but I'm just going to show you now by revolving the crank around where it sort of misses and what to look out for. Obviously there's this back web of the crank here, you've got to be careful it doesn't touch the pump. It's very, very close. What we look for on these pumps, because I've said to you before, they clamp down these pumps on the back. There's 2 bolts. Bit of a rubbish design really. You could sort of do with a bolt down here to make sure that the whole pump is bolted down, but because it's bolting down from the back, you've got to make sure that this pickup that's bolted here isn't too far like that, because what it will do is hold the pump off the block, and we know that the pickup is sort of about here really in the block. So what I do is put a torch behind the pump once it's torqued down and make sure that there's no light underneath here. If there is, you know that the pump is sitting off the block. So we can see now down where my oil spray jets are, the BMW ones, how efficient they are. They're spraying right down into the base of the piston where they should go, and you can see that in comparison to the original look. That's just spraying in some general direction of the piston, but not necessarily even onto it. I mean, this hasn't been titivated, and it looks to me like it's going to be spraying down onto the base of the block and just splashing around in any general direction. So what we want to be doing, we just turn the crank over, make sure that the skirt of the jet is going to be missing those crank webs on all of them. And not only that, but you want to be making sure that, you see down there, it's going to be missing the rod. It's all a bit tight, there's only a few mil in it, but this all looks pretty good. So if I turn this over, it turns absolutely lovely. It's going to be missing everything. One thing I do look out for is that when you put the pickup on, this rod bolt here misses that pickup. Sometimes when you put the ARP bolts in, which this hasn't got, they sit slightly higher. So what you have to do is put like a little indent, push the pickup pipe in slightly so it misses by a couple of mil. You can see that, look, that's very, very close. Not so close on the other side, but definitely down on this one. So that's one thing to look for. When I built one of my first Cosworths, in fact, I think it was my own out of my Sapphire, I didn't take that into account. I put ARP bolts in it, and it was actually touching on this pipe. And when I put it in the car and fired it up, it sounded like a big end had gone. But obviously back then I didn't really know enough about them to realise what had happened. So yeah, you learn as you go on. But that crank's in now. I can get this front cover on and then we can put the sump on. So Isaac is down here. Look, you can see he's put a lick of paint on the sump / gearbox of the A series. Engine's looking fantastic. It looks like he's got the oil pump on the back now. You see that locates there on the back. Nifty little number. It means that you've got to remove everything to replace the oil pump, but never mind. Also, you've got the cover here, which is cleaned up and painted. So this gearbox / sump, usually if the customer states that he wants it built, we will get someone like Bob Tucker, who's always built these boxes. He's pretty nifty, knows all the little ins and outs of them, but I don't think the customer's had any issues with this, so we're just going to I think it's a case of cleaning it up, mate, isn't it? And
Yeah.
just putting it on. Everything seems all right with the box.
Yeah, it seems all good. No excessive play or anything. So.
Yeah, so fortunately it's a good one. So he's just cleaned it up, give that a paint and what have you. Obviously we're not going to strip the gearbox out to blast this sump. So I think he's gone at it with a wire brush and some paint, but it looks lovely. Looking forward to seeing that on the motor. Well, thank you very much for watching this special, guys, of a Thursday's video. We will be back tomorrow for another one. Exciting times. But until then, have a great evening. Cheers, guys.